Good evening. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. I guess obviously we're going to be continuing to do these devotionals for a while on our evening lessons, and I want to continue to encourage you to share these lessons with everyone. Now, so as far as the devotional goes, if you think back, I think it was sometime last week I did the little Devo on, it was talking about chlorophyll and all the amazing things that God has made plants able to do. And it's not only plants that God has done amazing things with, but it's people. Just so happens I was looking at my email, and you know how I am. I get those history emails, and I just went down the list, and here's some things I saw, and we'll look at these and make some application. On May the 20th in 1498, Vasco da Gama reaches India for the first time. 1506, Christopher Columbus dies, but yet even in his death, I think about all the things that he accomplished in his life. In 1873, Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis received a patent for blue jeans. They were adding rivets to the stress points. Popular item, you think. In 1927, on this day, Lindbergh takes off across the Atlantic Ocean. In 1956, the United States conducts the first airborne test of an improved hydrogen bomb. And on May the 20th in 1969, the battle for Hamburger Hill finally came to an end after 10 grueling days. Now, when I look at this list, it just causes me to think about and to be amazed by all the things that people are able to accomplish. And this is just a scratch on the surface of the amazing things that people are able to do. God has blessed us with an amazing mind. He has blessed us with talents that are beyond measure. If we're just willing to take advantage of those things that God has given us, those amazing talents, the amazing mind that He's given us, the ability to take the resources that He's given us and do amazing things with those, it's just, well, it's amazing, if you will. There's some amazing things in the Bible as well, and that's probably not coming to any surprise to you, but you probably think, if I say something amazing in the Bible, probably the first thing you think about is like Jesus feeding the 5,000 or God raising Jesus from the dead, or perhaps all the miracles that Paul and Peter and the apostles were performing to confirm God's word. But there's one that's amazing, but it's yet not necessarily connected to some miraculous thing like that. But it has to do with the spread of the gospel. In Matthew chapter 28, verses 18 through 20, this is one of the times that God commissions us through the words of Christ to take the gospel into the whole world. And as we read along in our New Testaments, we come to, for instance, Colossians chapter 1, verses 5 and 6, and we find out that in Paul's day, apparently the gospel had been taken to the whole world. This is what Paul wrote in Colossians chapter 1, verses 5 and 6. Because of the hope which is laid up for you in heaven, of which you heard before in the word of the truth of the gospel, which has come to you as it has also in all the world, and is bringing forth fruit as it is also among you since the day you heard and knew the grace of God in truth. Now, I am confident that with the minds that God has blessed us with, that we could take the gospel to the whole world again. You think about the resources that we have. Think about what has been done during this time that we've been locked down with the coronavirus. How many lives have been touched by the gospel that we would have never had opportunity to touch before? Think about the thousands of people that have tuned in to little devotionals just like this. Polishing the Pulpit has done great things. They've had virtual gospel meetings and continue to have virtual gospel meetings and virtual ladies' days. So certainly with the minds that we have, the capabilities we have, the wonderful blessings that God has given us, we've got the ability to do this again. And so with those resources, why are we waiting? Why are we wasting those abilities that God has given us? So my first thing is, if you've not obeyed the gospel, then that's the place to start. Because you don't want to be on the wrong side of this when Jesus comes back again. So make sure that you first obey the gospel. And second, take the gospel to your neighbor. Take the gospel to the person at the drive-thru window. Take the gospel to the checker or to the cashier at Kroger. Take the gospel to the teller at the bank. Take the gospel to whoever you come into contact with. That's just the beginning of how we can take the gospel to the whole world. How much better place is this world going to be, coronavirus or not, if we can take the gospel and fill the whole world up with the gospel? God has certainly given us the talents, the resources, the ability to do and accomplish amazing things. And I think that in comparison to some of the things that people have done, taking the gospel to the whole world would just be a small thing. We've just got to get off our couches, so to speak, and get to work at doing it. I just want to take this and give you this as a challenge. Take the gospel to someone in the next few days. Remember this and use it as you go into the rest of the week. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, and I pray that you have a blessed week.